So ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the first panel discussion for the day. How has aesthetic practice changed post the pandemic? Right from change in appointment scheduling to the impact of social media post-pandemic, from implementing purchase decisions for aesthetic devices to the changing patient preferences, the upcoming panel will discuss this and much more. I now invite our moderator, Dr. Madhuri Agarwal, founder and CEO, Yavana Aesthetics Clinic, to join us on stage. I'll introduce her with a few words. With over 15 years of experience, Dr. Madhuri Agarwal is the founder and CEO of Yavana Aesthetics Clinic. She regularly travels across the globe to enrich herself with the best practices and state-of-the-art technology to bring it to the Indian aesthetic aspirants. She gets invited regularly to deliver talks on cosmetic treatments nationally and internationally to her peers and to the public. From the past few years, she has been actively involved in training other fellow dermatologists and aspirants the art of techniques of laser, facial rejuvenation, anti-aging, and dermal fillers. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us today. I would also like to invite our panelists to join us on stage with Dr. Madhuri for this session. Dr. Amit Luthra, consultant dermatologist, Ishira Skin Clinic. Dr. Amit Luthra is a dermatologist from Delhi with special interest in aesthetics and an experience of more than 15 years. He heads Ishira Skin Clinic in South Delhi and North Delhi. He completed his MBBS from the Armed Forces Medical College, Pune, and DNB Dermatology and Venerology from Delhi. He is a member of European Academy of Dermatology and Venerology, Indian Association of Dermatologists, Venerologists, and Leprologists, and Cosmetic Dermatology Society of India. He is the invited faculty at major international conferences such as IMCAS. He's also been in the forefront in lecturing and training new doctors, and he has been part of the Aesthetic Medicine India Editorial Advisory Board as well. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Narmada Matang, dermatologist, Neoskin Aesthetics. Well, we could call for this applause actually while my speakers join me, so please welcome them with a huge round of applause. With over 20 years in practice, Dr. Narmada has been involved in training fellow colleagues for aesthetic procedures. She is a certified international trainer in minimally invasive techniques for aesthetics. She has also been educating clients through online publications and her book, How to Look Like $1 Million, along with a few other medical books. She is the founder of Neoskin Aesthetics and practices in Powai, Mumbai. Dr. Rajesh Nair, founder, Skincare Specialty Center, Thiruvananthapuram. Drawing on more than 20 years of experience practicing the art of cosmetology, Dr. Rajesh Nair considers himself to be a super specialist in the field. With a combination of in-depth knowledge, innovative techniques, and cutting-edge technology, he ensures that patients get up-to-date treatments. He offers an array of treatments from facial and body contouring procedures to botulinum toxin lasers, peels, hair restoration, facelifts, and liquid fillers. Dr. Rajesh has led presentations at dermatological conferences around the world. And please welcome Dr. Shefali Trasi Nerurkar, MD Skin, Consultant Dermatologist, Dr. Trasi's Clinic in Lapil. After completing her post-graduation MD in Dermatology, Venerology, and Leprology, Dr. Shefali Trasi Nerurkar joined Trasi's Clinic as a third-generation dermatologist in the Trasi family. She has received extensive training and experience in various skin, hair, and nail disorders. She is a member of European Academy Dermatology and Venerology, Indian Association of Dermatologists, Venerologists, and Leprologists, Indian Medical Association. She is a trainer to doctors for anti-aging treatments like botulinum toxin and fillers. Her personal interest lies in treatments of acne, acne scars, pigmentation, and anti-aging procedures. I now request Dr. Madhuri to take this discussion forward. We would keep around 40 minutes for the entire discussion, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Shriyal, for the invite. We all are really pleased and honored to have such a great audience right now. The only request is we would welcome audience questions. So, Shriyal is here and we can hand over mic, and in between you have any questions, you can either forward it to Shriyal or us directly. So, can I have this on, please? Thank you. Okay. So, the first panel is how has aesthetic practice changed post-pandemic. I think we're still in that influx of whether pandemic is happening or not. But yeah, we can say it's basically we went through a lot of pain, lot of turmoil, lot of uncertainties. But if we have the courage and strength, I believe we all as practitioners have to lead our patients through. And thereby we come out stronger. Now, aesthetic medicine actually is a science. I have a lot of times encountered that it is just beauty, but I personally feel, we all as dermatologists feel, it's a science of clinical, corrective, and surgical. And as Shriel mentioned, there's a lot of economic turmoil, and we are still struggling and trying to come through it and get a better practice. Now, before pandemic, we were all happy-go-lucky in our own world with our patients, no mask. We were having our own gear and doing things openly. But pandemic changed everything. So what did you do? My question to my panelist is, when the lockdown happened, before we go to post-pandemic, I want to know, how did you all manage this period of lockdown? Were you doing consultations? Were you not doing? Were you going to clinic, not doing? So I would want all of you all to put in your inputs on this. And if it's difficult to see the questions, we can have the chairs a little bit on the side. Okay, Amit, we can start with you. I request, please put off your phone to silent.
Well, during the lockdown, it was a weird experience. The first time we encountered the lockdown, in fact, we were told that the clinics are allowed to open. And the first time I managed to open a clinic in the first phase of the lockdown, I actually had the police coming in and closing down my clinic.
Oh.
So that was, I'd opened for 3-4 dermat patients who had bullous pemphigoid and pemphigus, so they wanted to see me. So I opened the clinic, but actually the police says you'll have to close down. Yours is not an essential service. So that was my first experience with lockdown. And consultations, then we shifted to the online, and we're trying to manage the best we can do. We try and get the best results out of it, but sometimes it's difficult. In certain conditions, you have to see the patients physically.
Yeah. Narmada, were you having these aesthetic patients coming to you during this period?
Madhuri, the easiest thing to do was to lock down. The whole world was under lockdown.
Yes.
And aesthetic, in my opinion, is not an emergency. It's something can be planned. And there are so many more important aspects, especially when it struck us. And the eerie noise of the ambulance, which was going around, at least around my clinic, was very scary. So, and you don't know, especially when it struck us the first time, we had no clue, how we're even going to deal with it. And skin per se, and aesthetic practice, of course, I too locked my clinic for good long 2.5, 3 months.
Dr. Nair, you're from the south. How was it there?
Actually, COVID has taught us a lot of things. And then we were lucky in one thing, like we doctors could move out.
Yes.
And then we were the lucky ones who could move out. Even with the triple lockdown, you had lockdown, doctors were allowed to move around. And that
True.
was one of the, we were the privileged one who could go out. And that was one of the things. And then we closed our clinic for about a month. And then I started again because there was a lot of inquiries. Doctor, we can come. Oh, you open. So then we started with, usually we were working from 9 to 9. And then we started from 10 to 12 and 10 to 2. And slowly we increased our timings and everything. But we learned a lot, like we can do. We don't have to work from morning 9 to 9. We can reschedule. We can reschedule the appointments and we can work comfortably. That's what we learned from COVID.
Shivali, anything to add on?
Well, we were closed only for 15 days.
Wow.
April, online consultation started because we realized more than the aesthetic patients, dermat patients needed us.
True.
Urticaria, psoriasis, with the stress,
Absolutely.
it was increasing. So we had to open up at least online. And the hospitals that we were working, they were never shut. So we were working throughout, for that matter. Private, of course, started in May when we were officially allowed as doctors to open the clinic. We were allowed to move around with our doctor tags on the car, so that was a relief. But yeah, online consultation definitely helped us. The dermatology patients were definitely willing to come. When it came to aesthetic patients, there were two kinds of patients that we encountered. One was, there were some patients who said, aesthetics is, as Dr. Natang said, it is not an emergency, so it's okay. But then there were certain patients who were in a panic. And they wanted to do something, but we couldn't allow, because first lockdown we did not know anything much about what is COVID, how is it going to happen, how is it spreading.
True.
We knew about the contamination through air droplets, fomites, everything. So everything was
Surface, everything.
everything was shut. So yes, but good quality medicine, the topical medicines, we could, tell them on online consultations, WhatsApp consultations, and that definitely helped the aesthetic patients as well.
I think that's what we took away from all the discussion, that as doctors we are very resilient and we were the lucky ones, the privileged one, we could serve back our patients. And yes, clinical dermatology was the need of the hour, aesthetics to some degree. So this is how we went about it. Now post pandemic, I think this is the often quoted lipstick index, when there was this world war and there was this slowdown in 2001 recession, everybody was like, lipsticks are selling like crazy. So definitely, that's a good positive sign. And I personally feel that was one thing which I really held on to in my mind positively, that happened. So even now, post pandemic, we can do a lot of things. So tell me, once the clinics open, how did you all turn this crisis into an opportunity for your clinic? We had a lot of time on hand. Even once the clinic opened, patients were not really willing to come out. They were more comfortable with the online. So we were sitting in our clinics. So did you do like change in the staff trainings, your trainings, building up technologies? Were there any changes that you, because that's what I want to, know. I did that in my crisis. What did you all do? You can start, Shefali.
So, luckily post pandemic, the fortunate thing was we got a chance to read on those things which we were missing on a lot, including family time. So, good family time, good reading time, good discussions. There were a lot of Zoom meetings happening. So, good discussions. We could have one on one with our staff. We could focus on those things which we were lacking behind. So, these things definitely happened. One more thing that happened was, as you said, patients were less. So, we could give that quality time to all the patients who were coming. We could whoever patients, be it 3 patients, 4 patients to begin with, we were sitting, we were discussing, and we were in fact chit-chatting.
Yeah.
And it really brought us more closer to our patients.
I think we became more friendly and bonded well, and they were like...
And then with social media, with so much of awareness happening amongst the patients also, we could sit down, we could have a discussion like I was having with a colleague. Doctor, what is this? Okay, I've read about this. And, it was a very healthy discussion at that time. So, slowly that improved quite a lot. And I still feel that is continuing.
Yeah.
So, patients come down. There are definitely 2 sides to a coin. So, patients definitely come down, tell us, okay, doctor, what is this? Then do you think this will help us? So, we can have a good conversation with our patients now, which was definitely lacking in our practices.
Dr. Nair and Dr. Amit, any inputs from... So we have from West, North and South. So definitely would love these inputs from all of you all there.
Yes, COVID, see, we had a lot of time in our hands. So we had a lot of time, we could do this, and then we were thinking, what can we do? So one of the things, what we did was how to make the COVID, our clinic better.
True.
See the protocols, the hygienic measures, and how to streamline the patients, give more time, and how to we trained our staff to how to take care of the patients who are coming. And then because if we are in a city, there want to be these health authorities coming in to check the clinic. So
Smaller place.
All the places. So that anytime they will come down, or see, you get the corporation, they get a complaint from one of the clients, and they come down and they say, okay, what is happening here? So then we were bound to train our staff, and then we took time because we had a lot of time. So we took this as an opportunity to improve our clinic.
True.
To make it a better place.
Amit?
I think when you mentioned the lipstick index, it has to be more of the eyeliner index. So if you notice people are wearing the masks, then people
True.
started noticing their eyes. And that's why one of the companies actually, if you look at it, started the Look campaign. So going from what Shefali mentioned, yes, there were a lot of Zoom meetings, and in a way it's an indirect promotion for us. There was more of social media during that period of 2 years.
True.
And now it's kind of, we are reaping the benefits now.
Yeah.
Because of that social media,
Yeah.
suddenly there's an explosion of patients coming into the clinic.
Yeah.
So indirectly that has helped us. And what did I do? I basically renovated my clinic, and yes, as Dr. Nair mentioned, we trained our staff, and our staff also became sensitive. And even the patients, I've noticed in the last 2 years, there's been a change in their profiles. In the sense...
We'll take that question later on.
Sorry.
So, yeah, I agree. Even I did the same. We all dermats got time to basically, look at our clinic, revamp wherever the infrastructure was missing, relook at our device decisions, train our staff better, make them more sensitive. I think that is what the new normal was. As Amit said, just above the eyes was the focus. So basically, in pandemic, there was a lot of this, as we said, clinical, but we can't do away with the need of looking good with the Zoom and everything. People wanted to look good, and you can't just wish away saying, "Ke, aesthetic does not matter, let's do clinical." So I think the aesthetics came back in focus more than clinical, and a lot of, I know, clinical dermatologists also got into aesthetics, and basically we were there, we were doing clinical as well as aesthetics, so we were in a very unique position out there, and we got a lot of new guidelines, I guess.
And I think during the whole COVID period, how I dealt with is educate myself. And secondly, one way or the other, each and every family was affected.
True.
So, educating them, the staff, even post-COVID, how to interact with the patient. What are the questions? Everything changed. Your entry to your consult, you had that sheet between the patient, and the patients really wanted to talk to someone. They did not have, they were kind of, so restricted in their interactions, except of course for social media. But that human interaction was lost, and everybody, in my opinion, was suffering somewhere.
True.
It had affected financially, or their jobs were lost, or they had to move, or they lost people. We lost so many people. So they just wanted to talk. And separately, I had a lot of colleagues who were working in hospital. They were randomly calling and speaking for 45 minutes. So just being there for your colleagues and, of course, upgrading yourself. Lot of Zoom meetings happen. And I realized that, one doesn't need to really read books, but one could actually see all those videos and educate oneself. One could create videos and educate your staff and all of that. Then these things like, autoclaving and, sanitizing.
And that came big time in focus
I think
again.
we leveled up
Yeah.
big time in the clinics.
So, Amit, any changes in appointment scheduling now that we are over the pandemic, as we call it? Have you gone back to the older days, or is it still the protocols are followed?
I mean, we still kind of follow the protocols because as late as April, we had a little kind of panic in Delhi wherein cases started going
Yes.
up. So generally, yes, we are
So,
still...
what is the change then in your appointment? Just to
No, so if you compare the three waves, first, second, and third, first, obviously, we were not very particular about it. We started doing it. Second, really kind of brought us home in the sense we really got terrified and we were start doing the scheduling every 30 minutes, one patient, that kind of a scenario. So we've now cut down the time. Now it's every 5-10 minutes we see one patient, if you look at it that way.
Okay. Dr. Nair, anything different you did from Amit?
Actually, as I said, we were working from 9 to 9. That has changed. Now we don't have a shift. We work from only 9 to 6. So that has come down. And then but the problem is now the dermatology patients have increased.
Yes.
So as I said, we tend to give more time.
Yeah.
People they come with a lot of questions and everything. So that is one of the things. And aesthetic practice also, people, thanks to social media, everyone knows everything and they come with a set of questions asking us. So then it takes time. So you
Yes.
can't finish your patients in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes time. So we have reduced the number of
So, you're giving more
consultations.
time to your patients?
Yeah, we need more
So
time.
you can actually thank COVID for this. If you're getting more patients, dermat patients, that's because the patients are panicking now.
Yes.
The moment they have a little itch, they start thinking about certain things.
Yes, true. Yeah. So basically, yes, appointments, we have become more sensitive. I think we have now started cherishing our me time. Even I have become lazy. I used to work till 9 as Dr. Nair, and now I'm going back home. I want to finish by 6:37 and go back. I think most of us are in the same boat. So dermatology consultation was this in pandemic. We were wearing the entire gear and doing it, right? Has it changed again? Are you continuing with telemedicine? That's what I want to know, because now we've gone back to physical practice and there's a lot of conflict whether we should do telemedicine or not. What is your take on that? Shifali, Narmada, you all want to add anything on this?
Well, I think telemedicine is there to stay because as we've discussed, because of social media, the number of patients coming to us have definitely increased. People from all over the world want to consult with you. So with that, they do want to talk to you regularly, consult with you regularly. So telemedicine is definitely there to stay. There are a little glitches. It is going to be a little difficult when it comes to few dermat cases, few cases, wherein you really want to touch the patient, understand how.
Because
it
ours is a
going to be.
visual field, touch and
Yes.
feel field.
So, but definitely patients are continuing. The quantity has definitely decreased.
Yes.
People do want to come, but there are a few people who still prefer coming online because they feel कि नहीं doctor के पास तो only sick people go to doctors. There are certain people who feel that, so it's okay. But telemedicine is definitely there to stay, and it is in fact a good thing because we are using this technology for betterment.
So Narmada, do you feel this telemedicine has opened up your clinic to more patients, maybe internationally, nationally, whereas previously you were just restricted to maybe that area of Mumbai that you're practicing in?
I completely agree, and I think we should, take this opportunity, schedule better. It's definitely helped me schedule, the international patients much, much better. We are well informed and a lot of follow-ups, even wherever they are. And if you remember, even during the lockdown, a lot of people flocked to Goa, and a lot of people went to Dubai, but we were still connected. And even if they were here, they couldn't come.
True.
So you stay connected, and I think at least for follow-ups and all, it's a very good idea. It is going to stay. Even if you're doing services and all, patients also prefer, and honestly, I think I'm in a zone where even I prefer that one call, video call, and it's good. Unless and until you want to really do something.
Amit wants to add something.
No, I just wanted a counter question to the panelists. Would you charge the same amount for your teleconsultation? Would you charge less? Would you charge more?
Pretty much the same. Pretty much the same.
Yeah, much the same.
Yeah. Anything different, Amit? Do you charge more?
Initially, we were charging, in the first wave, we were charging less because we were appreciating that people are not working there. But then we gradually went back to the normal. Now this period, we are actually charging more. And the reason for me is I want to kind of get those people off the tele thing who think that they can sit at home and consult. There are a lot of people like that.
That's a very sound logic.
So it was less, and then it's the same, and now it's increased.
So you want to get them back to...
Yeah, we want
clinic.
them physically back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't do it, yes, obviously you can do it.
But I'll tell you, I was very jealous of those people who got to work from home from Goa. I wanted it too. What is the change that you are encountering in your aesthetic practice? Is there a change because we are talking about social media, we are talking about change in the profile as Amit was talking. Amit, do you want to continue there? Do you feel the profile that was coming before COVID and now, is there a huge difference? And what kind of difference are you seeing?
So obviously during that 2 years period, people have got educated, and with all these influencers coming into the picture, so we don't have to educate patients. So if you go back pre-COVID, we had to educate patients. Now you have patients who come in with specific demands, that I want my under-eye treatment, I want my lip treatment, and the profile has changed from a very older age group, so you have a younger age group coming in, probably because of the social media.
I think everybody is nodding. You want to add on something, Narmada Shifali?
I think everybody on the social media seems to be an expert except the dermatologist.
I agree.
And I see all youngsters, right?
Yeah.
I see all youngsters with messed up faces finally showing up at the clinic. And there's another level of education that you have to do to make them understand. And then I start from the basics of what is a cosmeceutical product versus a pharmaceutical product. And right now, what do you need? So you might feel that, you can learn a lot from YouTubes and Insta. It's good to know that, these things exist. But don't think you can become an expert and you can start treating yourself in conditions. I mean, right?
Please feel free to send audience questions.
It's
Yeah.
social media good and bad. Good thing is now we don't have to educate the patient or things. They know everything. They know everything about VRP, the hydrofacial or the cool sculpting. They know everything. They just come with a lot of questions, so they just want to clarify, but that it takes a lot of time. But then another thing is a lot of misconception. We need to clear that because young, as doctor said, young patients coming in, young people coming in and asking for a facelift and Botox and fillers and all those things. Actually, they don't need that. But they look at the videos and YouTube videos and they say, yeah, I got a little sagging, I got a little wrinkling. Actually, they don't need it.
Yeah, so I think Shifali, that's where I want to ask you, a lot of DIYs, at home remedies, and I'm not surprised people start injecting them. And a lot of, these influencers talking about this product is good, and 14 years old using 10 products. So what is your take on that? How did you handle those?
So as doctor said, a big rush of youngsters, male patients, and those patients who felt that anti-aging is only after 50, definitely that idea completely changed.
True.
DIYs definitely came. Patients said, Ki, I have tried this. Still my acne is not going. So now you're the final person and you have to take care of the goof up that I have done over a period of time. That has definitely changed. But there is a positive sign also to it, you know. Patients have started trusting the doctor in the sense ki, yes, this person is doing this thing. Initially that lack of knowledge was there. Like, dermatologist can treat this is something that was not there. That knowledge was only not there. So they used to feel, oh no, that is only done by this person, or that this procedure is not done by a dermatologist. So now patients themselves come, ask, as Dr. Nair said, they ask, doctor, do I need this? So I felt that was a very good thing. A downside to it is they question your knowledge quite a lot.
True. That's what I wanted to know.
So there, somewhere you feel that the faith in a doctor has definitely reduced.
Agreed.
So there are two sides to a coin, and so I feel wherein at one point I am positively being questioned. There are times when you say something, when you give a diagnosis, or when you suggest them a certain type of a treatment, they question you negatively and they keep doubting. You do something and then like, but doc, I feel that this should have been
And the
done.
challenge is these are 20-year-old doing it, not 40, 50-year-old doing it.
And initially it was just a few group of friends telling ki, oh, ye acha hai, ye acha hai. Now it's like an entire social media bombarding them ki, no, this is not good, but this is good. And then so there is a positive side to it, there is a negative side to it. We have to create a balance now.
True.
So that is really important in our practice.
So Amit, I welcome you to the social media Instagram. I have heard that you recently joined the bandwagon. How does it feel and what made you do it?
First of all, I don't want to dance on social media. That's my priority. I'm not going to dance. I'll be doing my regular inserts or whatever. So, social media, it was a change in my practice. 2 years I realized that we have to be on social media to get some patients in. Or I was getting patients in, but I needed more patients in. So social media that way does help, yes. But sometimes, as she said, you have to get the right perspective in it. And I believe as doctors, we have to present that. Don't get into all those things that we are doing, the reels that we are making, unnecessary reels. Let's go scientific.
More education,
so
agreed. Yeah, Dr. Nair, did you get on Insta and Narmada? I know you guys are not very there.
I'm not
So I know we have these masters here, Dr. Rixon, Soma and all sitting here doing amazing job. And Pankaj is also there, I just noticed him.
When I first started, the Instagram account I started in lockdown. I was never very open to, flashing out my personal life on Insta.
True.
But it definitely showed me, there is a different side to a social media and you can show off your own clinic rather than showing your personal life. So that is one thing which I really found out about social media in this lockdown, and it was a good thing. But one more this thing was when we used to put in reels about injecting our patients. One or two of my friends said me, "तू पूरा दिन एक ही काम करती है क्या? सिर्फ सबको injection लगाती रहती." So then I had to cut that down and put more scientific.
So a lot of feedback, na?
Lot of feedback.
How many of you all are out there on Insta? Big time users. And how many are dancing to the reels? Okay, so since we are short on time, Shriyal has told me Okay, so basically what I get from you all is aesthetic practice has definitely changed. For the good that our patients are more educated, they know more, they're more open to procedures, and we're getting a younger generation which we really want to do preventive aesthetic medicine. However, at the same time, it comes with it evil, and we have to be patient about handling it. This is what I have learned in my practice. And there are times when I learned to say no to a patient also. I said, I cannot handle you. Sorry, boss, please don't come back to me. I've done that also. So that is about the patient. Do you think your way of doing procedures has changed? Are you changed the kind of procedures? Maybe you're doing, say, an injectable lip before, and now you're doing, as you said, eyes more. Or is there a change, or is it the practice is the same, the technologies are the same, or have you innovated more? What is the change now you see post-pandemic?
Definitely the cases, as I said, the younger profile has increased. You have more patients of the younger coming in, and they obviously are asking more for the under eye and the lips. You have the older population coming in for the cheeks, so there's a shift there.
What about lasers and thread lifts and any new things like microblading? I saw being boomed a lot. So we moved away to a lot of these other procedures besides the core aesthetic that we were doing.
Definitely cosmetology procedures such as the BB glow, micro needling, has threads have definitely, those treatments have definitely seen a hike. Hydra facials. So everyone is talking about hydra facials these days, so that has definitely increased. The other thing that I observed was when initially a patient would come for filler, injectable treatments, they wouldn't mind doing 4 syringes, 5 syringes. But now even patients like to time it. Doctor, can we do with 2 syringes and then probably after a month or after 2 months, can we do with the others? So, they like to stagger the treatments also.
Could it be the finance part of
Yes,
it also?
Yes, definitely. So here, initially, I don't think we were thinking so much about finance as we would do now. And patients also like sometimes that we time it out. So like we can start, so it's always a multimodal approach when it comes to anti-aging. So patients do like that combination treatments, and if we stagger the treatments over a period of time, they do like to do like that approach which we are taking as doctors. They appreciate that. It becomes, and that way the youngsters are also more happy. They are not all of them are not very financially sound, so they want to collect some money and then spend it on their skin. So that has definitely increased.
Narmada, what about you and Dr. Nair?
I think anti-aging treatments have increased.
So I want to ask you, which is that age group now coming to you anti-aging? Is it the older group, or you seeing like 25-year-olds coming to you?
30 to 50.
Okay.
People are coming for 30 to 50. They come for fillers, thread lift, HIFU and all those things. So then I love doing that. Now,
Good.
see, previously what we were doing it, now we do more of thread lift, the thread, the the HIFU, the thread lift, Botox, fillers, like almost every day. Previously we used to do once in a while, but then now the volume has increased. Almost we do it every day, and I love doing that.
Okay. Narmada?
I think a lot of things changed. Right from the beginning, the whole attire now that I use, even for procedures, right from the cap to mask, and all of that changed. I also introduced contactless facials, so it is not a very intimate.
That's very nice.
Yeah, so patients are more comfortable, confident. And the other things were like, I think now I spend much more time with my patients because the appointment scheduling is pretty much followed the way we followed earlier, which is giving, those gaps. So you really don't see too many people in the clinic. It's a very relaxed atmosphere to work. And technologies, as far as technologies are concerned, I think the whole way of using it changed. Of course, we were sanitizing and everything, but now every patient goes and then you spray and you clean and those aerosols. The other thing I wanted to mention was also the ventilation. So earlier, like during soon as we opened, we started ventilating the place. Which is a very challenging thing in Bombay.
Yeah.
But luckily we have that available, at least in my clinic. So
Yeah,
these are few things.
I agree. We became more hygiene and sterilizing the clinics. But at the same time, I think my practice also has changed. We were doing more of lasers and peels. Now we have shifted more to either those hardcore things like thread lifts, injectables, or it's that the other spectrum of doing maybe those dermal infusions and hydrofacials and oxygeniofacials.
Even
So the laser
biomedical-
somewhere, I think, I don't know EBDs, but I know Dr. Rickson is doing a lot of body sculpting. Rickson, any take on that? Do you think that is the pandemic has changed the scenario because people are more open to this? Can we get a mic for Dr. Rickson?
There's definitely been an interest, I would say. It doesn't suit everyone's pockets, but there is definitely more interest and inquiry, and I think a lot of it has to do with Instagram. A lot of young people are, trying to improve their whole body image, and they are working towards achieving good body confidence. So I think this 2-year, lockdown or restriction on movement put a lot of people on social media. They started becoming a lot more aware. And they started looking at themselves, in Zoom calls, on Instagram, and everybody wants to have like a good body, and they want to maintain themselves. So I think
that chiseled jawline.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of inquiry, but it doesn't suit everybody's pocket. But a lot of people are saving up so that they could get. So
Good,
it
get
is
it.
also becoming aspirational. So, that
So yeah, so I think we are moving. I think as Amit and I were talking that slowly, gradually, maybe in the next couple of years, I definitely see a boom in our aesthetic procedures in India. I think that's the way to go with the Zoom continuing. People be reflecting and thinking what they can do better. People thinking about themselves, not about my family, my children. Yes, they do that, but now they become what can I do for my well-being, my health, my mental peace, and that's why these things have becoming more prominent. So just quick couple of questions. Are you changing the decision of buying machines or devices? Previously we would like a machine and we would just say, okay, let's take it. No forethought of what the future holds. Has the pandemic changed that thinking? Do you think more, or you're still the same in buying your devices?
So I have pretty much all the devices, but I realized non-use of the devices led to a lot of expense for me. So I had to do a lot of, thankfully, the maintenance, which couldn't happen during the 2 years, got all that activated. And like I said, I introduced the contactless facials. I was never in that space, but we now have it as an added thing. That's what I'd say.
I think it's pretty much the same. We always read about the new machines, take proper demos, understand it better, try it out on our relatives and few close patients. And buying of the machines has not changed per se. Probably, yeah. We did invest in a lot of those hydra facial and all those things.
So the kind of technology you're investing may have.
So, we did go towards those contactless facials, dermal infusions, and we use them more. Initially it was just the maintenance type. Now we use them more. That's the only thing I think that has changed.
Dr. Nair, any change at your end?
During the COVID period, we had stopped buying machines.
Obviously.
Obviously, we didn't want to invest more on that. But then now, because the volume has increased, definitely all of us have to invest in some of the good machines, which is coming up.
So I'm going to catch hold of Dr. Pankaj. All are good friends, so I'm catching hold of them. Dr. Pankaj, any change in your perspective? Do you feel that you have become more sensitive about, buying technologies, or is it the same? Because there's a lot of investment involved. We don't know what can happen. Maybe another lockdown. So do you think of those?
Yes. So earlier it was mostly brand driven and marketing driven. So if the reputed machine is there, which is creating a lot of hype, I used to buy that machine just for the sake of buying it, that okay, I have this. But these machines, they create a lot of load on you, especially in pandemic. Like for 1.5 years, the clinic was almost non-productive. And then if you have bought these machines on EMI, then eventually there is a pressure because you're not able to generate that revenue. And of late, so I studied and I found that there are a lot of competitors which are giving almost a similar technology, which works very well. So these days, it's more like a smart investment rather than just going as per the hype in the industry.
I think as doctors, we have to be a little business-minded. We always are, but sometimes we become doctors and forget this. We like a device. It's like a mobile phone, new ones, let's buy it. But now we have to keep in mind that the future is very uncertain. Something may happen. There's this monkeypox or something coming up. So we have to plan. We have to be very smart, and we should look at lower end options also. It doesn't always have to be a high end option. So depending on your budgets, your future plans, finances, you have to plan better and do it. So yeah, last question. What are the steps? Have you have a game plan for making your clinic more profitable? Because 2 years was actually a loss, 2.5 years. Slowly we're struggling back and we are seeing patients coming in. So do you have a plan now that, previously we would just be in our zone, do things and finish it off. And we were making money. But is there a change now? Have you become like more business savvy now in terms of planning?
So one way to do that is, since you're getting in more patients, you obviously need to kind of have more work happening in the clinic. So what we've done is, at our clinic, we're trying to utilize the room. So there's something called a concept of room usage.
Yes.
So we started looking at that as to how much utilization of a room is happening. And if you go back to the corporates, how they work, this is how they work. They look at the usage of a room, they calculate the percentage, and then they try and kind of work on it. So we introduced that in one of the clinics and trying to look at the laser room as to how much profitability are we getting, how can we drive that up. So I realized one thing, that getting a skin practitioner, a new girl who's trained, helps me a lot. Because what happens at times, I have the machines, but I don't have the staff because they're busy elsewhere. Or for that matter, I don't have the rooms because I have 3 machines locked in one room. I can only do 1 patient at a time. So I'm just trying to look at diversification in that aspect. Second, as Pankaj was mentioning, we had a lot of losses. So what I've realized is whenever you buy a machine, these days I look at a ROI of minus 20%. I'm giving that 20% discount for something that might happen, be it COVID or monkeypox or whatever. So that way we're trying to kind of look at profitability, cut down our expectations also.
True. I think 60% room utilization is the dream utilization, which what I've learned in my corporate days. I'm sure Narmada has done, I've done this brainstorming a lot. So I think that's one good thing. I would like, since this is a final question, I would like all the other panelists also to please share their game plan.
Well, I actually don't have a game plan. But yes, as doctor said, definitely we are nowadays looking more on those aspects as to how each machine, how each treatment, how much profit, how much loss, definitely looking more into that. Initially, we would buy the machines, they would lie there, we would forget about them. Many a time, in the lockdown, we realized there are so many things that we have with us and we have not been even using it. So usage of each treatment has gone up. Since we got the time to chat with our staff, we could educate them, we could teach them how to cross-sell. You know, while doing treatment, how they could, if the front desk, the therapist, clinic managers who are standing there, you know, they can always interact with your patients, you know, tell them about the different procedures which as a dermatologist you can't tell. So that definitely has increased. So that has been my game plan, wherein I teach my staff to utilize those things which are getting ignored.
So Amit is looking at room utilization, a better staff quality. You're looking at making or incentivizing your staff to do better. Narmada, what is your plan?
So thankfully, I'm happy to say this, that we expanded and we are now operational even from the first floor in the same premises. I introduced new services as well because they were coming in, people were inquiring about it. And I also have now another dermatologist with me, so we can share. I don't know it's a good game plan or not, but I just love what I do. So we've been blessed enough to expand our work.
Yes, so I think that comes down to it, the passion that we put in our work. Dr. Nair.
Yeah, nothing of a game plan, but only thing is to utilize all the machines properly. So we were not using it to their optimum level. So same way, train more staff to do each machine. So then what I did was hydrofacial, keep one person. For the carbon facial, keep one person. Cool sculpting, another person. So because the volume is increasing, if you have multiple hands who are well trained and then together, so each machine gets utilized more.
Agreed. So I think yes, because the promise of future is there and we are seeing a good explosion of work coming in slowly, gradually. That is what I've done, you know. I have invested, I realized I was not investing in my staff. Good quality staff, pay them well. You know, I think Dr. Kohli is here. I've learned a lot from her again, you know. So it's important to invest in your own people, give them that space, that comfort, that it is your clinic, incentivize them if needed. Look at your machines. Are you utilizing them enough? Are you doing the optimum, use of these procedures? Talking about them, doing combinations. I've started doing more of combinations than before I was, So you have to put your thinking hat on and think, what more can you do for this? Maybe look at, starting some lower-end lower-price technologies like your facials and all, which we as dermatologists think, as Shefali said, why do it now? But I think they are great entry level for patients to come in and get an experience in your clinic. If they love it, they will be more ready to invest in your clinic. So these are some of the things which I also have done in my clinic, and I think we all agree that, we have to be more sensitive, more in the clinic, more understanding. Yes, now we're going back to conferences, but I think the time we spend in our clinic gave us a lot of insight on how we handle it. Appoint more people, appoint dermatologists if you feel the need, and thereby, look at the next 2 years, how you can ramp it up and recover those losses that you had. So yes, I think family is important. We are learning to give that time, which we were not, I think, initially. And I think now the before was there, there's an after. I think maybe slowly we'll hopefully go back to the before what we were doing. So finally, look at your procedures, look at your patients, look at your staff. I think that's more important. And I'm sure we'll come out good at the end of the day. Thank you so much. Thank you to all my panelists for giving valid inputs. Any audience questions that I need?
Any questions from the audience?
I would just like to ask about the BB glow treatment. It was mentioned in one of the conversations. There's a lot of controversy on the BB glows. So I want to know whether it's really safe, not safe. I mean, are we going ahead with it or what?
Shefali, this was your take on.
Well, I don't recommend BB Glow, very frankly. But if any patient asks me, then definitely I do educate them about the benefits and the side effects of it. And if the patient still insists on doing it because they are already very well read about it, and if the patient still says no, doc, I think I would like to try it at least once, then we go ahead with it. But as a doctor, I do not recommend it.
Agreed.
Any other
Anybody else
questions?
has?
Dr. Amit and Dr. Shefali, how do you manage patient privacy policy when you put your post on Insta and on social medias?
So whenever we put a post on Insta, we try to cover their eyes, of course. We taken permission from the patient. Whenever we are putting in reels or videos or whatever, or photos for that matter, we always ask our patients, is it okay if we do that? And there is always a written consent with you. Asking the patient if it is okay to be used in conferences, on social media. So that is one thing you can definitely do. Apart from that, in spite of giving full permission about not using their photos, I still try to cover up their eyes, because at the end of the day, I don't want anyone knowing that this my relative or this my friend has gone to this clinic and done this. I still, I don't like to display too much of my patient's personal details. So I still cover, in spite of taking all the consents, I still cover their eyes, lips, the main features to protect my patient privacy.
Well, if you look at the legality of the issue, whether you can post it or not, if that's what you're asking, if you've taken a consent, so what I do is normally my demo patients or patients who are there in the workshops, we take a consent and we take a written consent for posting on social media and using the photos. So those are the photos we normally use, but there is a legality issue. Sometimes when you use body parts, there's no issue, you can easily post it because it's not revealing the identity. I mean, this is what we got to learn when we were talking about in one of the discussions. Legally, yes, so.
A bare body part, it doesn't, the Insta declines it, and you can't do any paid activities around that.
But you have a lot of plastic surgeons showing you those procedures.
But you can't do paid activities.
You cannot do any
Even
paid
before,
awareness
after, you can't do paid,
Yes.
where the clinical things are shown. So as per the recent norms which we received last week, I think it's very clear that we cannot share, even with consent, the before-after pictures. So there's a lot of discussion happening. But I think, as Shefali and Amit pointed out, I do a written video and pictorial consent. It's important, video and in pictorial, not just pictorial. And also, I share that copy with the patient. I keep a proof, we countersign it, we have a witness if possible. That's some kind of legal safeguard. But at the end, you have to do it only with your trusted patients who have been with you for years. I don't definitely do it with new patients, because in the code of law, that consent doesn't hold true always. This is my learning. Okay, I think, thank you so much to all my esteemed panelists and audience.
Discussion. And thank you so much, Dr. Madhuri. May I please invite you to enjoy that seat that I had reserved for you? You could just take 2 minutes out there. So indeed an insightful discussion, and we could clearly see how much has evolved or changed from a pre-pandemic to a post-pandemic mode that we all are in. And of course, as Dr. Madhuri said, with a before and after now, hope the time comes when we go back to the before also sometime soon. May I have a huge round of applause for this panel and all the information that came in here. From my and my entire team's end, I would like to thank them with a small memento, so please do accept that. Thank you so much. Yes, just if everybody could come together here for a group picture, please. Yes. Thank you.